this is my ban list. But before I show it, I want to preface this by saying that I'm always all for releasing all the cards that are unnecessarily put on the ban list, as long as they don't completely destroy the game, of course. But which are the unnecessarily put cards on the ban list? Well, that's what we've gathered here for to talk about together. We also have to say the last ban lists have in many regards been disappointments, and that's why next week, Monday, I'm calling it now, should bring the refreshment in this game we all long for. Current format is pretty okay, so it's probably not going to be the ban list we need, but the ban list we deserve. Konami, let's get rid of these cards. Arch Nemesis Protoss, Artifact Scythe, Mystic Mine, and Imperial Order. I don't want to spend any time talking about these, to be honest. We all know they're unfair, they're broken, they're lingering floodgates. Once they resolve, you can't do anything anymore for the rest of the turn. Let's just get rid of them. Fifth card I want to see banned, Ben 10. So if Arch Nemesis Protoss should see a hit, I definitely think Ben 10 should be banned as well. And just in general, I think if there's a deck in the format that puts up 7 negates going first, and if you don't open non-engine, you instantly lose versus that deck, well, it's probably broken. I've had a lot of discussions on Facebook recently with people arguing that Drytron just doesn't do anything right now. Well, the reason Drytron doesn't do anything right now is because Swordsword has an incredible matchup versus that deck. If they go first and they can put up Protoss or Chalfang, Drytron can't do anything. So it only makes sense that less people are on Drytron. But I look at the remote duel YCS in Europe, and I think 16 players entered with Drytron and 4 made the top cut. So that's the highest conversion rate out of the entire tournament. So there's not an argument to be made for Drytron not being good in general. I think the deck is definitely hit worthy. So just get rid of Ben 10, and then you can put Eva to 3 as well, which is pretty cool. When we look at the limited list, there's a couple of cards that I think are very obvious. People have talked about these before, but like I said, I'm all for releasing a lot of cards. This is the ban list we deserve. Maybe not the one we need, but the one we deserve. The first 3 I don't want to spend too much time talking about once again, because many people have talked about these before. Recital Starling is the first one. Just weakens the Tri-Brigade Lilith combos. And Tri-Brigade Lilith is not the biggest problem. I feel like they still have a bit of consistency issues, as well as them being able to be stopped when hand trapped correctly, and sometimes they just don't have a good enough hand to play through many hand traps. So I feel like Recital Starling to 1 makes it just so the end board is a bit weaker. Probably won't be able to put up F0 as consistently. Recital Starling probably is a good hit to 1. Fractal is another card I would like to see go to 1, also for consistency. But also this could be a bit of future-proof to all the Winged Beast, Beast, Warrior archetypes that will be released. Tri-Brigade has been splashed in all of these for the last 1.5 years. I think almost, right? Or 1 year maybe. Maybe I'm exaggerating a bit. Yeah, probably 1 year. Every archetype that supports these types will splash in the Tri-Brigade cards. And the Tri-Brigade pure deck has obviously been a problem for a while. Get the consistency down a bit. I think it will hurt the deck but not destroy it. Meltdown is a card that I would also like to see go to 1, because there's a really broken interaction with Fusion Destiny, where I have played Tri-Brigade Dogmatica and they used Fusion Destiny and destroyed my Revolt on summon of the DP, and I couldn't respond with Revolt anymore. So I feel like just this interaction alone is pretty crazy. Of course, not only if you're playing Tri-Brigade, if you play other decks as well. If I play Invoked and Meltdown is at 1, there's the chance of seeing Alistair is a lot lower, but the chance of seeing Invocation stays the same. So I feel like this makes the whole Invoked engine a lot worse. And it's not only because people hate the Invoked engine at this point. It should not be a reason to ban the deck. As I said, everyone should be able to play what they want to play as long as it doesn't destroy the game. But I think the Invoked engine does destroy the game a little bit. Okay, the next section is going to be interesting. I want to hear your guys' opinion on this as well. But the first card would be Thunderdragon Colossus. I don't think this will come to a surprise to anyone that has been following the channel for a while. I've made an entire case in a video that I will link somewhere here. You can watch it if you want to. Why I think this card could come back. The difference between this and the possibly banned cards that we've discussed earlier is that it's not a lingering floodgate, meaning you can out it down your turn. So it's not really comparable in that sense. Cupid pitch combos are bad, so I don't think anyone will play that. So I think Thunderdragon Colossus could be fine at 1, and Thunder just is unplayable. So why not make it so you can at least play the deck? Orcust Harp Horror would be the second card I want to talk about. Orcust Harp Horror, in my opinion, could come back to 1 as well. Now, I gotta be honest in saying that I haven't looked into like Orcust combos in 2 years, so I don't know what Harp Horror could really do if it came back. But if I look at the Orcust deck right now, I cannot imagine how a Harp Horror would change anything about the way this deck plays. Like, fundamentally, we don't have Mermaids, so as long as that card's banned, I don't think Orcust will be a huge problem. And even just 1 Harp Horror is also something that could be dealt with other archetypes, right? And non-engine cards as well. The next card I haven't seen a lot of people talk about yet, but it's actually the Strudo. So the Strudo to 1 would be an interesting pick in my opinion. I don't think Needle Fiber or Auroradon could abuse this card to an unhealthy degree. I remember this card being banned right before Needle Fiber came out because it was a really strong tuner that could just be special summoned out from the grave. But with Dragon Link being a lot weaker and Needle Fiber not being a thing in the game, I think this card coming to 1 would be fine. You also have to pay half your life points. I mean, that's not a huge deal, but it is a downside to this card. Especially in a grindy format like we have right now. Yeah, why not try it, right? Blaster is the next card. So I've talked about this in my last wish list already, and I don't think Blaster would be a huge problem. Now, I wasn't there when Dragon Rulers were around. I could just theorize it on paper. It doesn't seem too bad. Salamangreat is not a deck that could use this, and we don't really have any other fire archetypes in the game right now. Of course, this could change with the future, and maybe they don't want to unban it because of future-proof, but it's pretty much just removal and an extender. I don't really see a problem with it. Lunar Light Tiger is something that could be talked about. Maybe this is maybe the one that I'm most unsure about. I don't know, is it really that bad? I feel like if I look at the current decks and what they can do, and Drytron and Tribrigade Lilisk, I don't think one Tiger would be a huge problem. But I also want to bring up that I saw Sir Eminent's Banlist, I think it was a prediction or a wish list or something, but he mentioned that he thinks Lunar Light Tiger could come back to 1. And I honestly trust him because he's played this deck quite a lot. So even if it's a bit of bias, I would trust that. So I don't think there's any huge problems with it. Monkey Board is another card that I could see coming back to 1. Also a card that I haven't been around when it was released or played. But on paper, this card doesn't seem good at all. Like, I don't see how this card could not come back to 1. And then the last card is also an interesting one. It's Snow. Now, Fairy Tale Snow is a card that is at 1 in the OCG. Oh, we shouldn't compare to the OCG. I know. But Maxi is also a card that is legal in the OCG. And this is a very control-heavy card, right? And in a format with Maxi, this card, I imagine, is busted, honestly. I know in BA it was always very good with Beatrice. But in general, come on, let's give some spice. I want to see Snow back. Semi-limits. Now, funnily enough, I do actually have a couple of cards on the semi-limited list. First card is Dangerous Tsushinoko. So I know this would probably be a huge boost to PK. I feel like the dangers, like, who cares? I don't think anyone thinks that this card is inherently like one of the cards that is always super broken when the PK player has it, and this card doesn't see play in any other decks. So a Hero Lives is a card that I would like to see to go to 2. It is a very powerful card, so I would understand this going to 2. But yeah, I don't know. It's heroes. Like, what are they going to do, really, right? The unlimited section will be a bit controversial in some parts, but I think mostly going to be pretty obvious. I want to see Ava go back to 3 in case Benton gets banned. We've discussed this earlier, of course. Second card is Sekka's Light. I want to build cool decks again, and I think Sekka's Light was one of the coolest cards in the game, and I didn't understand why they put this card to 1 in the first place, making it totally unplayable, especially when Mystic Mine is still in the format. I don't think this card would pose a huge problem, because there's so many good going second cards in the format as well, especially with the release of Lightning Storm, Droplet, and Talent, and all of these crazy spell cards that you almost have to play. I don't see how this card would be a huge problem, because you would have to sacrifice a lot of your very good spell cards that you usually play in order to play this card. Which, of course, you would get a huge benefit from playing this card as well, but it would be a fun thing to try out for a format. Salamangreat Circle is a card that deserves to be at 3. Come on, like Salamangreat. It's not something that would elevate Salamangreat to the next level. I believe just gives them a bit more consistency. It doesn't strengthen their place, which would be what they would really need. Put this card to 3, it's reasonably alright. Spiral Resort is a card that could definitely come back to 3. It wouldn't be a huge problem at all. Emergency Teleport, Nessie, and Joker are 3 cards that were put to semi-limited last list, and except for Emergency Teleport in the Virtual World Sword Tool list that I've shown off just a couple of days ago, in PK you have enough level 3 extenders. It's not like Emergency Teleport really does the difference there, and it would boost some of the archetypes that they have recently released. I think the Punk archetype can use this card pretty efficiently. And then the last card is Scapegoat. So Scapegoat is an interesting card. I would like to see this go back to 3, even though it would probably mean that, I don't know, if Eldritch would play this card. Maybe even not. It would definitely be an interesting card to see played again. And if people really want to play their Scapegoats and it doesn't destroy the format, which I doubt anyone would argue that Scapegoats to 3 is a card that would completely destroy a format, let them play it, right? That's sort of the theme of this entire video. Anyway, that was the last card I wanted to talk about. I would be highly interested in seeing what you guys think about this sort of prediction or wish list or whatever you want to call it. And also what you guys want to see be banned, go back to 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. Let me know in the comments. With that being said, I hope you guys loved this video, and I will see you in the next one.